Hi guys, welcome back to Even the Sparrow Homestead. So it's a rainy day here in the Ozarks, and so we're gonna take advantage of this by going inside to try our first foray into pressure canning. Are you excited?
I'm fine with it.
I'm a little nervous, to be honest. I know they have more safety features than they used to, but still, you hear those horror stories and it just gets ingrained in your brain, so.
We'll be fine.
Yep, we'll be fine. Let's go get started.
Okay. Okay, so we have 4.5 pounds of black beans, so that is the equivalent of 12 pints.
And we need to pre-cook them a little bit before we can even start in with the process of pressure canning. So the pressure canner, I ordered a Presto. It was the cheapest. I did get a larger size, but it comes with this weight for the top. And since the top of the pressure canner has a gauge on it, you have to sit and babysit it so that way the pressure always stays within the acceptable range. I didn't want to do that, so I had read a bunch of reviews on Amazon about this little weight here, and I upgraded to the rocker weight. This one will automatically, once the steam starts going, it'll start rocking and letting out the excess pressure as it rocks. And so that way you don't have to sit and watch the gauge the whole time. So I thought that was worth the extra maybe 13 bucks to not have to sit in here for an hour and 15 minutes while the beans process. We're using the instructions from the Ball Guide to Preserving for dried beans, if you're curious where we're getting this information. All right, so we brought them to a boil for about 2 minutes. And now we gotta let them just sit for an hour before we go on to the next step.
Okay, so our beans have been sitting on the stove for an hour. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and drain them. And then after we're done draining them, we'll go ahead and cover them with water again, 2 inches above the beans. And we'll bring them to a boil, like a low boil. And you wanna do that for a half hour, let them sit on the stove for a half hour. And then we'll be on to the next process.
And now we're packing the hot beans into hot jars.
So when you're packing these jars, you just want to wipe the lid with a little either apple cider vinegar or just white vinegar and some water. Okay, so we filled the canner now with all of our jars. We have it filled with 2 inches of water, and we put it on a medium-high heat. So now we're going to go ahead and put the lid on, and for 10 minutes we're going to do a process called open venting, where basically we don't have our weight on the top and it'll just vent steam. So we'll do that for 10 minutes.
Once the steam starts coming out of the vent, we'll start our timer. Alright, so we've been seeing the steam come out of this little vent for 10 minutes. The little pressure plug shows that we have pressure in here. Now I'm going to drop our weight of 15 pounds on top. We're almost at 15 pounds of pressure here, so as soon as it reaches that, this little weighted rocker should start rocking back and forth, and that will regulate the pressure. That's why I went ahead and upgraded from the basic weight that comes with this Presto canner. Otherwise, you'd have to sit in here the entire hour and 15 minutes that it's processing and turn the heat up and turn the heat down on the burner. And there we go. So now that it's rocking, we're going to set our timer on our stove for an hour and 15 minutes because we're doing pint-sized jars.
The hour and 15 minutes has passed. Our pressure canning is done. So what we did is turn off the heat and moved the pressure canner over to a cooler side of the oven. And now we just let it sit until the pressure releases naturally.
So once that little pressure gauge falls down, then we're going to give it another 10 minutes before we take off the lid. Alright, so pressure has completely dropped, and we're going to wait 10 minutes before we take the lid off. 10 minutes are up, so we're going to remove the lid. And then we're going to let those jars sit in there for 10 minutes before we remove them. We pulled those out of the canner and we ended up with 13 pints. These are gonna cool overnight on the counter, and a bunch of them have already sealed, so that's a good sign.
Good morning. So all of our canning worked out. We were both woken up. Well, Jess woke me up last night from, she says, Dustin, she's like, there's someone screaming, and I woke up and was like, that's coyotes. And so we had a bunch of coyotes right out in our backyard here, probably scoping out, seeing if they can get some ducks or chicken dinner. Luckily we have that Premier One fencing and works great. So that's all we have for this week, and thanks for joining in, and until next time, take care.